You may have 10 to 15 minutes. You can enlarge the PPT if you want, and then please go ahead.
Yeah, can you see my slides?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, thank you, Mal, for intro. Good evening, everyone. So hope everybody are safe during this pandemic situation. So my talk is on cancer, the current facts and the emerging challenges. So one point I would to be clear during this situation, the cancer, as far as there is no report on these cancer patients, there is a high incidence or the asymptomatic infection in these cancer patients. But however, they also undergo a few issues during this pandemic, so those who are waiting for treatments or for surgeries, or so they have to undergo a lot of sittings uh, for the either for the prevention or the treatment of the cancer. But however, the old age people who have been with the cancer, so they are more prone to this infection, and even the death happens in them. Okay, so hope everyone are aware of about the cancer, what is it. But I would like to give a few points, or as a prelude, before I'm talking on the current facts. That is, what is the current statistics of the cancer, and what are the challenges we are facing in either treating or preventing the cancer. So as you all know, it is not a single factor caused disease. It is a complex disease. When I say it's a complex disease, it's going to be a multifactorial. So many factors, not even the many factors, and not a lot of mechanisms are involved in the development of the cancer. So for defining, all, it is abnormal cell growth. So it is more or less like a normal cell. The only difference is that the normal cell, they have a control over their growth, whereas this cancer cell, they don't have a control. So similarly, there will be a balance between, there is an imbalance between their growth and the death. So the normal cells knows when to die and when to the grow and when to do the function, whereas this control is completely lost in the cancer. Okay, so we are not able to diagnose this cancer at the initial stage, because it happens something in the innermost circle. If you see in the hierarchy organization of the organism, so cells is somewhere here. So this cancer happens at the cellular level. So that is why we are not having any symptoms at the beginning stage. So for example, in skin cancer, uh, you can see the symptoms. Okay, or in some other diseases, you can see an external appearance or inflammations or like that. But whereas in the cancer conditions, you cannot see the symptoms at the earlier stage. So that is why it has been diagnosed. Even the diagnosis fails, because only if the symptom arises, the diagnosis will help you always. So that is why it has been diagnosed at the later stage, when it has been spread to the other regions. Okay, so this is, you see in the left hand picture. So this is for example the prostate cancer, how it happens. So this circle, so within that you have a cells, so that yellow shaded spheres or epithelial cells. So in almost all the organs, the epithelial cells will be the functioning cells. So when their functions are lost, obviously the organ function is also lost. Okay, so this is the normal epithelial cells which is seen in the prostate. And then if you see here, so there are three different stages: initiation, promotion, and the progression. So in initiation, so they are generally referred as an neoplasia. So where there will be a leakage both in the cell membrane, so which is the outer covering, and also the leakage in the vasculature. So as a result of it, they tends to move from the localized, it means particular organ, and tends to move from the organ to the nearby. So it also affects the surrounding tissue which is seen within the organ. And in the promotion, which is invasive, it means it starts to spread or to the nearby. For example, the nearby site is our lymphatic system, so which is one of the body fluids in addition to our blood. Okay, so then finally the progression, so this invasion and the metastasis are the almost, it is an advance. So metastasis is that it moved to the other parts of the body via the circulating system, that is a blood or even a bone. Okay, so it's a highly advanced cancer, where the treatments also fails over here uh, because it is metastatic and it has been spread to the other regions. Okay, and here the treatments, why it fails, that the treatments are available not to cure the cancer but just to extend the survival of the patients of the advanced cancer. So who are these guys generally? So you can see two stages. One is benign, and you can, it's not a stage, it's types. So benign is if you see the left hand side picture. So it's not, it is a localized to one region. So say suppose if it is a liver, it will be within the liver tissue. So and those tumor cells, it won't affect the surrounding tissue which is seen within the a particular organ, or it won't spread to the other thing. So and here they are asymptomatic. So unless if you have any genetic or family history, you cannot able to diagnose that, or you cannot predict such a person have a benign tumor. So whereas in the malignant tumor, it's not in the case. So it will tends to affect the surrounding tissue which is seen in the localized region, and also it will spread to the nearby region. So this is almost it's advanced a cancer, so where a lot of symptoms will arise. So by the time even the diagnosis, treatment, everything is tough to proceed in such cases. So who are the factors that will cause this development of the cancer? So I think it's a well established factor. These are the factors. So like age. So as age goes on, the cancer development is more. It is also based on the socio-economic issues, and then race and the family history. So if we are older generation they have, it's going to be continued to the next generation and so on. And next is the dietary factor. It plays because our habitats and the habits are totally changed, and it's slowly becoming westernized, and so the food habits and even the chemical exposure seems to be the very causative factors for this development of different kinds of cancers. It's not these are the factors that is very general in almost all the cancer, and in each cancer there are specific other factors which will influences the progression of the cancer. And gene mutation, you know about gene mutation happens. So we have two kinds of the genes. One is a proto-oncogene, and it is the cellular genes, and then the tumor suppressor gene, which always suppresses the oncogenes in our system. So when there is a mutation in these two things, so if there is any mutation in proto-oncogene, it will get converted. Proto-oncogenes are the genes that is involved in the growth of the cells. So if there is any mutation in these genes, it's obviously it's going to convert them into the oncogene, and it will involve in the abnormal cell growth and thereby the cancer. And if it is any mutation in the tumor suppressor gene, so it won't suppress the development or the progression of the oncogenes that has been converted from the proto-oncogenes. So these are the general factors that can be seen in all the cancers. So coming on to the current cancer facts, particularly in India. So if you see the first most the higher incidence is the breast cancer. So this is a general in both the sex, right? So the first one is the breast cancer, and next is the oral cancer, and we can generally say as a head and neck cancer. So which includes the lip, oral, and other regions of the head and neck cancer. And then cervix is the third one, and lung, and then the stomach. So if you see the gender wise, in a male, the oral cancer is oral cancer is the with a higher incidence, and whereas in the female it is a breast. So other female parts like cervix and ovaries are the most prevalent cancer in the female, whereas in the male it is oral or the head and neck cancer, lung, and the stomach. So it's everything is just because of their lifestyle and the dietary habits. So all the causative factors for such kind of the cancers in the gender-based facts. Okay, so if you see, when we see the incidence, so you know the incidence rate in the female is a breast cancer, and whereas in the male it is oral, and next is lung cancer. So if you see the incidence, I mean the mortality, so when you, the incidence and mortality ratio, if you see, there is, so if it is a 24.7 in the case of breast cancer, and it is the mortality is 13.4. So half of the population is dies because of this delayed treatment or delayed diagnosis, or what kind of the vaccines can be given to such kind of a patients. So they obviously the diagnosis fails over there. So that is why the mortality rate has also been half of the incidence rate. Okay, so what are the current management for this cancer and why it fails? So you know about the surgery, for example, thyroid cancer, the surgery has been done, but it is always accompanied with a lot of side effects. So particularly there was imbalance and radiation therapy. So for the breast cancer, they'll go for the radiation therapy. Again, there is a lot of side effects caused because of the radiation therapy. Even internal and external changes will happen because of this. And chemotherapy. So chemotherapy, there are a lot of FDA approved drugs. So they will generally affect the particularly the cell growth. So what are the mechanisms that is involved in the cell growth? So most of the drugs are targeted to inhibit the cell growth. And immunotherapy, so you know, whenever you give these kind of a treatments, the immune response, our immune system will not react to it, and as a result of it, the death of the patient will happen. So in the case of leukemia, so the leukemia, we have a treatment to cure the leukemia, but the problem is that the immune response, there is a low immune response of the patient to such kind of a treatment. So as a result of it, the death happens in the case of the leukemia patients, so which is known as a blood cancer. And targeted therapy, you can target particular genes. Say suppose if any oncogenes are highly seen in some cancer, you can target them. So gene therapy, so you can suppress the gene, so the drugs can be given against them, and you can target them and you can treat them. And then stem cell transplant, you know, this we can isolate the stem cells and we can grow them in an in vitro condition, and then again you just um, so you will inject to the patient, and thereby, you know, the stem cells will have an ability to transform into any kind of the tissue. So once inside the system or the body, it will transform. If it is a liver, then it will transform into the liver cells. So mostly the bone marrow stem cell transplants have been used for the cancer. And then the nanoparticle, so whenever the drug we are giving, so if first it should enter, it should cross the absorption, and then only it reaches the site where it has to prevent or treat the cancer. So in order to, so the exact amount of the drug is not being reached when you give as a plain drug. So we will just encapsulate them within a carrier. So that will be developed by the different nanotechnology, different methods. So that it will target it to that particular, if you want to deliver the drug to the prostate or to the liver or to the kidney, so we will have a marker, and we will tag them on the carrier molecule, and so that wherever the marker is there, this molecule will reach there, and the carrier function is that it will deliver the drug to the site. And so as a result of it, will at least will look into a positive side of the cancer treatment. And finally, gene therapy. So now in the cancer research, the CRISPR-Cas therapy has been trying to translate. So here it is that you can cut a particular sequence of the gene so that the gene is completely mutated, so it won't express. So it is a quite interesting therapy, but it is in the research level, not in the clinical level. So once they have tried in the lung cancer, but the reports are not being available, what success rate they have been achieved. Okay, so in some cases, so all these are being used as in a single therapy, and also they're being used as a combination therapy, since it is a multifactorial or complex disease. So the different targets we have to always meet. So for that, they will combine the surgery with chemotherapy or radiation with the chemotherapy. So they will combine, or the chemotherapy with the immunotherapy. So like that, they will combine the different treatment. Again, the side effects is going to be the more influenced, and also the resistance to these kind of a therapy will be developed in the cancer patients. Again, it's going to be a hectic to the cancer patients, right? So these are some of the challenges we always face in both the research and also the translation part, that is in the clinic. So whenever the clinicians treat the patients, so these are the general challenges whenever they go for a treatment. So first is that it is very important to create a tumor vacinology, so that particularly enhances or establishes the immune responses, which is already been revealed by the current checkpoint therapy. So whatever the radiation or chemotherapy, already there is some percentage of immune response. But now whatever the drug that is newly developed, So it should have a double or triple amount of the immune response it should elicit by this vaccine. And the next one is that either whatever the vaccines you're develop, so it should either prevent or the treat the cancer. It should be based on the mechanistic aspects. So it means that to target some specific gene, or it should be the tissue specific. It is meant for only the prostate and then only for the liver. I like that. So the medicines or the vaccines should be framed in such a way that it should be a tissue specific. And next one is that, so whenever we always use a combination kind of a therapy, so we doesn't know which drug does the which aspects, whether it kills the tumor cells or whether it inhibits the cell growth of the cancer cells. So all these things doesn't know. So always the mechanism of the two therapies is very essential, and that will overcome the resistance. So as I said, if you keep on giving the drugs, so the cells will become a resistant to it and it will keep on growing instead of dying. And also it's very important whenever you go for a combination, it is essential to avoid the toxicity caused by the two different drugs or two different kinds of therapy. And next one most important thing is that it's very important to distinguish between this lethal and the non-lethal cancer. And so the lethal cancer should be immediately treated, whereas the non-lethal, so you know, if it is unless the symptoms arises, it is not essential to treat them. And next, even if you give, the next important thing is that some cancer cells remain dormant even if you give the effective treatment. Okay, so it is very important to identify such dormant cells, and we have to develop vaccines to target such kind of the dormant cancer cells. And next is that again the diagnosis and the detection is very slow in the case of the cancer patient. So the early detection of the cancer is very important. So using the available medical reports, so we can use a very recent technology like machine learning and the deep learning. So these are the things will give you the detection with the whatever the medical report they are available. So it is very easy to detect the cancer at the early stage, at least at the neoplasia initiation stage, so that we can treat them at the very initial stage. And next more important thing is that, so manipulation of microbiota. So we have a lot of beneficial microorganism inside our body. So by manipulating their structure and the composition of these microbiota will generally improve the treatment response against the cancer. And the final one is that we have to also identify, so the cancer is not caused only by the mutagens. So mutagens is nothing but the factor that is responsible for the development of the cancer. Okay, it can maybe chemical or cellular factor, anything, or a gene, a proto-oncogenes or oncogenes that will cause it. So they generally referred as a mutagens. So the mutagens alone won't causes the cancer. So there are the other factors will also cause. So the identifying those mechanisms which is involved in the development of the cancer is very important. So for example, obesity is closely related for the development of the cancer that happens because of the improper lifestyle or the dietary factors. Okay, so that's why in the current clinics, they've been using what are the managements I've said, they've been using the combination of those managements. They are not trying a newer or novel innovations to treat the cancer. So now, right now, so I would like to, if time is there, then I can like to quote some of my studies. So which we got an interesting results as a result of the combination therapy, even though it is not in the preclinical model, we have done in the cellular model. So I would like to give. So now currently they've been using the plant-based products, so which has a lot of beneficial or the medicinal values are being used as a combo, particularly for the chemotherapy. So most of the FDA drugs, there are a lot of FDA drugs that are being used against it. Again, they develop a side effects. So again, it's the cancer reoccurrence happens. So that is another great challenges. Even if you give a treatment, it shows the cancer reoccurrence. It means again it will develop. So because of the stem cell, so the cancer cell, it will turn into a cancer stem cells. It means that they won't die. They will keep on renewing the cells. So once the cancer cells turns into a cancer stem cells, then we cannot treat them. Okay, so that is why we are just using the combo as a plant-based products or the components along with the chemotherapeutic drugs. So I would like to just highlight it. So what are the work we have done on the oral cancer? You know, it is a more prevalent cancer in India next to the breast cancer. Okay, so we just tried the beneficial or the pharmacological effects of these drugs individually on oral cancer cell line. So that cell line is NT8 E cells, which has been isolated from the oral cancer patient. So we just obtained from ATRAC, Mumbai. Okay, and so we just tested on the individual drugs we just tested, and so they are prone to inhibit the cell. And if you see here, we also tried in the combo. So when you're trying in the combo, so we should always check for whether it's showing an additive effect or synergic, or it is antagonist. It means opposite reaction. So whenever you combine two components as an anti-cancer to check the anti-cancer effect, so they should not act against each other, or they should be additive. So additional to the chemotherapeutic drugs, so the plant-based component should act, or synergistic. So both together, they work to treat the cancer. So we just checked out. So all these tables shows the different synergy, the different percentage or the level of the synergy. So all the positives shows the synergy, all the hyphens, that is negatives, shows an antagonist. So these are the different combinations of the plant-based. You know very well the curcumin, so which is obtained, which is a active principal component of turmeric, so which we daily use in our kitchen. So in most of our food we'll have it. So it has not only the anti-cancer effect, so it has a lot of other effects, so anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, and so many effects. So not only, but it is a very good against the cancer. So we just checked down the cisplatin, 5-fluorouracil, and the doxorubicin, which is a well-known FDA drug that has been used for the cancer. So we just selected a few synergistic doses of these combo, and we just further produced, further find out the mechanism. So one challenging is that we have to find out the mechanism on how these vaccines or the drugs or the components, the anti-cancer components are work. So that is a challenge we just took in our research, and we have been pursue the research. So we get interesting result that it inhibited the provider. So even though a lot of different combos of the drug showed synergy, we just took a very highly significant synergy doses, and then we just proceeded. So these are the supportive data, whether because we just said it inhibits a growth in the combo, so it induces. So in this image, it shows an cell death. So it at the molecular level. So particularly it causes the damages to the DNA. Okay, and so you can see the destruction of the cells in this curcumin dox combo and the curcumin 5-fluorouracil compared with that of the individual drugs. Okay, so you can see this is a normal. And similarly, we want to check the cancer reoccurrence. It means that the cells, once you treat it, it should not again grow once you stop the treatment. So that also we just checked using this experiment. So it is a colony assay forming, colony forming assay. So you can see in this combo, you cannot see not much cells. It means that the cancer reoccurrence won't happen. But however, there is some percentage of cells remains. Okay, maybe excessive stains, the stains may not be excluded. So it happens. So if you see from the graph, you can see it is reduced. So it is not high. So when you stop treating them. And this is a figure which shows a membrane potential. So again, there will be a low membrane potential. So as a result of it, there will be it shows that the cells die, the cancer cells die. So again, this is which phase. So, you know, in the cell growth, there are different phases like cell dividing phase. And then there are different phases like metastasis, anaphase, all those things. So we should always, in which these combinations, in which phase it inhibits the cell growth. So that is more important. So for that, from this experiment that is using a flow cytometry, we just saw that both the combination is tries to inhibit at the G1 phase. So I can see the G1S phase, right? So we just, all these are the initial proof of concept that these combinations inhibit the cell growth, I mean cancer, it inhibits or it causes the death of the cancer cell. So we should be mechanistically prove that it inhibits them. So we went to the molecular molecules that is involved in both the cell death and the cell cycle, that is cell growth. So if you see, this is the cell apoptosis markers. So you can see these both the combos enhances the cell death. Okay, so by enhancing certain molecules like backs, so they all increases. So and if you see in the combo, you can see the increased backs. So it means that their apoptosis is being induced by these molecules. And anti-apoptosis, it means that uh, there is anti-apoptotic molecule like BCL or being reduced. Sorry, yeah. And then if you see the cell growth, so this is a cell cycle. So generally in every cell will go, so one cell will divide into two cell and they'll keep on go. So it is very essential to find out. So from the flow cytometry, I mean flow cytometry, we have just seen at which phase it exactly stops the cell growth. So generally both the combos, so both the curcumin 5-fluorouracil and the doxorubicin is tends to stop at the cell growth at G1S phase here. So we are very much intended to check the molecules involved in these phases. So different cyclins are involved in the different phases. So if you see here, the G1 phase cyclin D, so it is reduced. So because of this reduced molecular effect, so it has been proven that it inhibits a cell death. Sorry, it enhances the cell death and it increases the cell growth. Okay, so when you compare with that of the, so individual drugs are also given. So if you see in the combinations, you can see them decreased. Okay, so then what happens at the receptor level? So which are the, the receptors are again, it's a protein which is seen on every cell as a gatekeeper. So they are the one which always allows the molecule or allows any signal from the environment, microenvironment, to enter into the cell and distract the cell or increase the oncogenes or any other cellular genes. So we want to check the signaling pathway that is involved in the cell growth. So one is the epidermal growth factor receptor. So we just found that these receptor expression was found to be completely declined in the combinations. So when compared with that of the individual drugs. So you can see clearly the expression shows that there is a decrease in the receptor level too. So we just seen there is a decrease in the receptor level, and what happens to the downstream molecule, which is whatever the signal that is received at the receptors, it should be passed on to the downstream molecules. There again, it's going to be an essential proteins or any other molecule that is involved in the cell growth or cell proliferation. So we are interested. So the very essential or the check protein is that ERK, which is extracellular protein kinase, that is meant to follow up the increased cell proliferation. So we can see here there is a reduced ERKs in the combo treated cancer cell lines. So these are both the combos, they have shown a reduced when compared with that of the untreated cells. So it shows that the mechanistically it includes these two combos or inhibits the cell growth. So to conclude, to draw a common conclusion is that, so always this cancer burden is intimately linked to the socioeconomic inequalities in access to the healthcare or the other related areas. And so if you want to rebalance this cancer burden, so three major determinants are there. So to address the cancer burden in long-term aspects. So if the cancer has not been cured within a month or a 6 month or 1 year period. So it's going to be keep on continuing for the survival of the patient. So social goods, resources needed to treat the patients, and the distribution of the power. So all these things are the major determinants to address the cancer patient management. And then the simple solution, even though the solution is simple, but it's very tough to implement. So to reduce the cancer burden is that, so it needs a political commitments and the actions against this to reduce the cancer, and then continuous and committed effect to reduce or eliminate in the long term. So this is most important. And so we know that the oral cancer is It's a more prevalent cancer in our country. So it is very important to frame a strict rules to implement of the tobacco control, because the smoking and the tobacco chewing are the very major risk factor in the development of this oral cancer. So finally, I would like to thank Shastra University for providing me the fund in the form of TRR fund, and I'll also acknowledge my undergraduate and postgraduate students who have been beside me in carrying out all these work. Thank you. I'm ready to answer your questions, if any. So I cannot hear you, Mile.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Banadevi, for giving a comprehensive overview of the facts as well as the challenges that cancer research as well as the cancer as a disease faces in the country as well as globally. And you have rightly brought out saying that how and why it is complex disease, and also talked about the benign and malignant, I think, sorry if this is a science term.
Malignant.
And then causative factors for the influence as well as the progress of the cancer. And you also linked the mortality rate to the delayed treatment and talked about various therapies are available. And you brought out a certain section of how the oncology or cancer research is being done with the scientific evidence of the slides which you had. Of course, some of us are not from science background, but it was good to understand and insightful about how it is being done. And then